High Court Criminal Division, presided over by Judge Mike Rubu, continues the hearing of the murder case of Mary Immaculate Onebe. The accused persons in this matter include Oriokoti Bone and Francis Onebe, the husband to the deceased. Prosecution witness number 9 Okero Chaus, former general manager of Pentagon Security Company Limited, testified that a search conducted at Onebe's residence led to the discovery of Mary Immaculate Onebe's body in a home septic tank.
Of September 2021, Ochom called me. Ochom, the IO now. They are going to reconstruct the scene. So he told me we meet at Kabalagala police station. And at Kabalagala police station, when I reached, I found the daughter in IV, and told me that they were bringing the father from police cells in Ginger Road to Kabalagala police station. So at Kabalagala police station, she became so violent. By the time she had, we were going to the home of his father, Mr. Onebe Francis, and they had quarrel with Mr. Ochom, that why should they go to the father's home in Munyonyo. So Mr. Ochom told him to remain behind. So he asked Mr. Onebe, let him identify somebody who is comfortable with for the search, for the reconstruction, for the scene reconstruction at his home. So he identified one by names Brenda. I don't recall the second name, but could be Ayob. I don't recall the second name. He calls Mr. Nebe uncle. And so Mr. Chom said there should be, he wanted a small number who can go with him up to the home of Mr. Nebe. So there was a team from Kabalagala. OCCID had his own team. They told me I should be there as a relative for the late Immaculate Onebe. And so we proceeded up to the home of Mr. Onebe, which was located at Munyonyo. By that time, Okelo was also together with Mr. Chom, and they were using a different vehicle. Me, I used another vehicle with one called Moses Eriau. When we reached the home of Mr. Nebe, my lord, the place is fenced and had the location. I can't recall the village very well.
So when you reached
Munyonyo, we found the gate was locked. So the policeman, Mr. Ochom, had to press the bell. So the guard who was at home by then opened. Oriakot Bone, who was guarding at home. The one who opened was Oriakot Bone. I beg my pardon, my lord. That was Funnel Okare. It was called Funnel Okare. My lord, when Funnel Okare opened, we went inside the house. The doors were locked. The main door from Mr. Onebe's house was locked. He had no keys. And he said the keys were held by her daughter, Ivy, and Inapo. But during that time, he was asked by Mr. Ochom to take us around. So we went behind, where we saw a structure of a toilet and another structure. Mr. Ochom asked him, what was the next structure? So he told him that was a septic tank. He again asked him twice, is that a septic tank? He still said yes, it is. The septic tank structure had a pile of wooden materials and with the mabati. So Mr. Chom asked Mr. Okelo, it had a roof which was in a mabati form, and also had some mabati on top of the wooden material. which was left like a scrap. At that time, it had on the pile there were these wooden doors which had a frame. He said they were wooden doors with the frames. So we also saw them, and they were very heavy. And we could not imagine it was a septic tank because it was like a store of piled wooden materials. So Mr. Chom asked Mr. Okello, Jacob, to invite the guard as a manpower to remove those wooden materials from the structure. Mr. Onebe was seated down. Yes, at that time, Mr. Ochom asked Mr. Onebe Francis that these materials, how long have this structure been here? Mr. Onebe answered him that it took 3 years. Itself had cobwebs. There were cobwebs seen around. So we went on to remove the materials from the septic tank. With the help.
So you as the state were called for invite someone for manpower. Who was invited?
So they invited Funnel. This is a guard who was guarding the home of Mr. Onebe at the gate, who came, and we started lifting these things, these doors, 3 of us. They were heavy, you cannot lift them alone. It was Funnel, the guard, I myself, Okello Charles, John Charles Caesar. Then we also had Ochom and Okello. So we could lift one door and put aside, which took us a lot of time. As we were still lifting, after almost 30 minutes, after removing the pile of mabati and removing the mabatis down, and the pile of wood also down, we now reached where we saw timber which was laid down. So Mr. Chom, we removed all the piles of wooden material. Yes, we removed it down. We removed the mabati plus the wooden pile of. We removed them as we were 4, and Onebe was seated. Now, before we reached, and at that time, we also had the chairman. Having removed the middle part of the timber, is when we saw a hole, a manhole of a septic tank, which was empty. But it was Ochom who first saw, as Onebe was seated aside together with Brenda. Ochom immediately called on Okello. He told him, don't you see something here like a human being? Okello also went to confirm. And he said, yes, this is a human being. He also called me. I also witnessed it very well. This was a human being who was in a septic tank. And the body, by then, the body looks to be iced. There was a white stuff, and there was a wig. There was a weave on the head, and I identified the weave as somebody whom I knew as Immaculate Mary Onebe. The weave, it was black in color. It was outside the water in the septic tank. I knew normally she puts on the same wig as she comes to office. When I called Mr. Onebe, Mr. Onebe also confirmed that yes, this is my wife. Brenda also came. She also saw the same. So at that time, I broke down. But Mr. Onebe was disturbed, and Brenda had to move away a bit. So later, the LOCs also came to confirm the same, including the whole team as we went. The team from Kabalagala Police, the police officers who also were in the team, as fire brigade was also called.
The alleged sack and the
And
wire
this
were
is
presented to court as
the
evidence.
wire.
So we can go back in also if you want to talk about it.
Sorry for that, my lord.
You may please. So Ochom and Okelo informed you that they decided to broaden the investigations, and they give you the reasons as to why the 3 areas, that is the misunderstanding, the company affairs, and all that. So you were starting to tell us about another thing that they
So from that date, on that date, my lord, we were told that any movement outside Kampala was now constrained. And once called upon at any time by Mr. Onebe,
Yes.
and any call, when called upon, we should report to police headquarters.
Maybe you need to be clear, constrain the how, try to explain what exactly they told you.
They said any movement up country, when you're leaving Kampala going to up country, we shouldn't move. And also abroad, we should not move. So we were told to go back. Thereafter, on the 6th of September 2021,
Yes.
Onebe was called back, and he was already at CID headquarters. Mr. Chom, because by the time he was at police headquarters, Mr. Chom called me.
Try to
And
be clear, the
he-
reason as to why did you get to know the reason as to why?
He told me that he had got information that he was leaving the country. So I also came to CID headquarters and talked to him. By that time, he was I talked to Mr. Onebe. Mr. Chom was also there, and he said they are detaining him.
Who else was there?
Okelo was also there.
Police station, CID headquarters, Mr. Chom was there, Mr. Okelo was there. No, I believe
Yeah.
you were present to that meeting.
Yes.
So did you get to know how exactly Onebe was going to leave the country? The court is interested in knowing. Because you said that he had received information.
Yes, by that time,
At the meeting,
At-
did you get to know how exactly? Because you said Ochom informed you that he had received information that Onebe was leaving the country.
yes.
So you reached the CID headquarters, you were with Mr. Okero, Mr. Onebe, and Mr. Ochom. Did you get to know how Onebe was going to leave the country? You were in that meeting?
I was in that meeting.
Yes. Kindly tell the court.
Yes, this was a few days before we went to police headquarters. I met Mr. Onebe.
A few days, that is
That was around 30th. Mr. Onebe told me that he was not feeling well, 30th of 28th, and that he wanted to go out for treatment. So when Mr. Chom told me the same, I also concurred with the information. He said he was going abroad. He was going to London, but through Kenya. And on the very date, on the 6th of September 2021, when I got him at police, he told me to pick part of his luggage, which was around Ginger Road, where he was staying. I went to Ginger Road with one of his cousins. Called Moses, Eriao, and picked his belongings from room number 9 at UMI and brought to him at the police station.
So this was before which meeting?
This was after the meeting and even after the arrest. After the arrest. When he was called on the 6th, the police detained him. So that's when he called me.
To do what?
he called me to pick some of his belongings, which he had kept where he was staying in Ginger Road. They removed the body. And when they removed the body from down, I was seeing it coming out. The body was naked, but with a black knicker. Across the neck, there was a wire, which was tied in a cavera, with holding a cavera with some heavy material inside. And part of the nose had already rotten, including the hands, but it was folded. The legs were folded and the hands. So fire brigade removed the body and took it to the mortuary. After that, we remained behind as they conducted a search. We entered through the behind door in the main house. By then the key was already brought and we accessed the main bedroom. Yes, that sack was a polythene sack with green. It had some green. The color was white and green in nature. There was a green color on it. But the sack was a bit old and it was held by the string, the wire. If it is before Honorable Court, my Lord, I can identify it. My Lord, this is how the cavera looked, and this is the wire which was across the chest of the lad. And this is the green color I was trying to talk of. And it was heavy. I didn't see the material inside. I beg your pardon.
The content inside, you never saw?
I didn't see the content inside. My Lord, the body, part of the body, like the nose, the soft part of the body had already rotten, including the hands. And it was a body of a female adult.
So you mentioned the search certificate that you signed on it?
Yes, later the certificate was made by a police officer and I signed on it.
So how would you identify it?
I know my handwriting, my signature, that I can identify on it, including the members who were there, I can identify them. I can identify my signature. I was number 6 in the list, and this is my signature with my telephone number. And the items, after the search, the body having been taken to the mortuary, my Lord, we left the home of Mr. Onebe.
Okello Charles also mentioned that prior to her disappearance, there were wrangles between Mary Immaculate Onebe and her husband Francis Onebe, both at home and workplace.
She told me they had a meeting at Munyonyo, at the home of Mr. Onebe Francis. Of which the brothers of Onebe Francis were there. I couldn't remember their names. But good enough, she had invited her sister, Mwebaza Pamela.
Told you what exactly transpired?
She really put by the brothers of Mr. Onebe who were in the meeting. that they never wanted her in that home for the following reasons. The first reason was that she killed one of their brothers who was who was in Kampala. At the same time, he also killed the grandchild of Mr. Onebe. They never stopped at that. They claimed even the children of the co-wife of Mr. Onebe were studying in London, but they almost went mad and they believed it was her who was bewitching them. In the said meeting, they had come with a Cavera, black Cavera bag, and it was wrapped. They said this Cavera, they had picked it from the village, and at night it would make lights. So there was complaint from the natives around. So they believed she was the one who planted it for witchcraft. And they wanted to open the Cavera in their meeting. So the sister said, you should not open it here. That's Pamela Mwebaza. And from that point, Mr. Onebe jumped and wanted to grab her by neck, the lady. Means she wanted to fight her, Immaculate Onebe, in the meeting. But the sister, Pamela Mwebaza, said, we have not come here to fight, but we have come to solve a problem. And if there is anything, go and throw the Cavera outside. She was not ready to witness.
You talked about the three areas, the areas that they told you about at police. The ones as the reasons as why they were brought in the investigations. And you told us about the one of the family misunderstandings between Onebe and his wife. And they also told you about the company affairs, right?
Yes, my lord.
So, can you, because you said, as you started your testimony, you said you were a general manager at Pentagon Security?
Yes, my lord.
So when you said the company affairs, the court needs to know about this company affairs. Tell us something about the company affairs.
Yes, my lord. At the time we were working together with the late Mary Immaculate Onebe as a managing director of the company. On a daily basis, she was unhappy. In the company, she was not earning a salary. I tried to convince Mr. Onebe, why can't a managing director be paid? He answered me that's his wife. But she would complain. Secondly, she was using a boda, and he had a specific boda who used to pick her. There was a time, my lord, these are the challenges she used to meet in the company. And she would always come to me, being a managing director, she would tell me. I was also a general manager in the company, and some of the issues when talked about would come in as in the company. We were happy when Mr. Onebe came up and said, let's give it to her as a gift. She could not access fuel, so she resorted to boda. Then at home, my lord, there was a guard who was deployed, and this is A2 in this matter, my lord, Oriekot Bone. She came and complained, said, please, the guard at home is now respecting only the husband. So she requested us to remove the guard away from home. And from that time, she would not talk to the guard. So we removed the guard from home and brought him to the office. And she was very happy. My lord, a few days later, when the guard had gone back to the village, she came and told us that the husband sent transport for the same guard to come back home. So the guard came back. So at home, my lord, she was now staying with somebody she was not peaceful with. My Lord, there were vehicles, including those of the ones for deploying guards. There are moments when she could also request, can I jump on this deployment van to drop me in town? This is a managing director of a company. But also at home, there was a pickup for Mr. Onebe. There was a Range Rover also at home. He had a Benz also at home. And there's also a small vehicle that was dropping other workers. But for her, she was subjected to this harsh and inhuman treatment. I've mentioned other vehicles in place. One of the drivers driving them was Sadrak, and we had another driver called Kato who would also come in to drive. The children also had. One of the daughters had a small white car. It was Mr. Onebe who bought for the daughter. That was Irene. This was it was not the biological daughter of the deceased. The deceased only had one daughter. My Lord, this home had only 3 occupants. I would always go and meet 3 people. The late Mary Immaculate Onebe, being the wife at home, and Mr. Onebe himself, being the husband, and the guard, Oriakot Bone. All the children had grown and they were not there at home. They never had a maid. So they were living 3 people in this home without any stranger.
Yes. So, when did Panel take over, if you know?
I beg your pardon?
When did Panel take over as the guard at the home, if you know?
Fanel took over 3 days after Oriakot Bone had disappeared. Because it was on the 9th day, I was in line with the deployment officer and supervising the deployment. Because Mr. Onebe had instructed that he needs another guard after the disappearance of.
So, did you ever visit the home, like check there from the time that Panel took over, the deceased has disappeared, up to the time when the report came back?
Yes,
No one was staying there?
at the time the deceased had disappeared and Oriakot was still at the gate, and we had brought in another guard,
So when
who was Fanel.
Did you ever, after all that, searched, advertised, done what? Did you ever go back to the home, like to check on the home to see what's there?
Yes, we had ever gone back because Mr. Onebe would call me and says, and I would find Mr. Onebe alone in the house and the guard at the gate, Mr. Oriakot Bone. Oriakot Bone was staying at the gate at the sentry box with all his property. Fanel used to stay also in the same house at the gate because he had replaced Oriakot Bone who had run. My Lord, I'm hearing the name for the first time here. I don't know him. I've never seen him. I've never had any contacts with him. That's my Lord. My Lord, including Kwezira Brian. I've never met them. I've never had any contact, even sharing my phones or having any affair with any of them. I've never. Even if I meet them on the road, I cannot identify them. My Lord, persons who killed my sister, my cousin sister, are before this honorable court. And that's Onebe, Francis, and Oriakot. My cousin sister, now the late, went home. I really confirmed she left her phones on the bed. She was cooking, there was food on fire. Her shoes were inside the house. And this is a home where they are living 3 people. The body was found in a septic tank. The place is guarded 24/7, and you cannot tell me that they cannot account for the person who entered into a septic tank. My Lord, the day when Mr. Onebe called me, when he said, I asked him, is it serious that I should come to see my sister at night? He insisted until you come, which means he had the knowledge of what had happened. My Lord, the CCTV camera showed exactly that she went back home. And from that time, my Lord, it is my prayer that I believe she was at home. The family affairs at home, my Lord, the family never wanted her. They created allegations of witchcraft. She killed their brother. She killed the grandchild of Onebe, planted some witchcraft in the village, of which Onebe also wanted to grab her in the meeting. What would be happen if they were now 2 at home? My sister, my Lord, the late, in the company, he had harsh treatment. She was not paid salary. He was denied transport in form of a vehicle. All this put together, my Lord, I have to believe they killed my sister. It's circumstantial that he knew what had happened in this family. And being a praiseful lady who fears God, he came back to the same family. And that's how he was arrested. It is now my prayer, my Lord, that justice should prevail in this court. We as a family, my Lord, we are in tears. We are in tears. We want justice in this court, my Lord. My Lord, I grew up at my uncle's place. And it was called Obongonyinge. Obongonyinge is the one who produces Mary Immaculate Onebe. Obongonyinge is my uncle. It is my aunt, Alado, who produces Obongonyinge. And he has been paying my school fees from primary. That's how I grew up with Immaculate. Even coming to Pentagon, it is Immaculate who introduced me to Mr. Onebe.
Do you remember being on campus with Pentagon, Immaculate, and then you knew the Onebe?
So it is very painful to have a lady thrown in a septic tank. At least if he never wanted her, she would have set her away, all gone away and left her. That's my submission, my Lord.
What do you want the court to do to them in the form of punishment?
My Lord, we are praying for a punishment that everybody can see and deter from others that they should not commit the same offense. If anything, it should be life imprisonment. You're welcome, my Lord.
You're saying we are confirming by the same thing.